Strategy is one of the most misunderstood concepts I find in the business community. It doesn't matter whether you're a business owner that's just starting up or entrepreneur that's starting up, or someone who's got a business turning over $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, or even $1 billion. I've worked with every size business right through to the billion on strategy, and even at that level, they often misunderstand what it is. So strategy is the plan to get you from where you are now to where you want to be in the fastest, most efficient, profitable, easiest way possible. And out of my 9-point strategy, this one is the hero. If there was one that's the hero, it's this one. You have to get your business strategy right before you can work on the other 8. So business strategy is absolutely critical, and as I said, most often misunderstood. So what determines your strategy? Well, fundamentally, there are a couple of things that matter the most, and one of them is actually you. If you're the business owner, the entrepreneur, even the CEO, you fundamentally matter. And what I mean by that is often when we go into business or we buy a business or a business has reached certain milestones, we get so caught up in the doing of the business that very often people fail to stop and actually think about where they are now, where they want to be in a 5-year or 10-year, even 20-year, depending on the size of your business and the age of it, time frame. But that work is absolutely vital. If you want exponential growth, if you want something other than just looking at slightly better every year, you have to focus on strategy. You have to take time out to figure out your strategy. And the key to that, as I said, is you and what you want. So what is it that you want this business to deliver? A business is a vehicle that is supposed to deliver wealth, lifestyle, reach, impact, contribution, and strong valuations, right? Amongst many, many other things. But it is absolutely supposed to deliver something at the end of the day called profit, called lifestyle, called impact. And you have to figure out, well, what is it that you want it to deliver? Because business is by design or it's by default. So if you are not designing the future you want to live into with your business, if you are not designing the future of the business and doing that thinking, you'll have a business by default. So, and default businesses are where most people end up with businesses that where they work really hard. Doesn't matter how big the business gets, they're still working really hard, not getting what they want out of the business, not getting what they originally imagined out of the business. But it is absolutely possible to have a business give you what you want, but it has to be by design. Otherwise, it's by default, and we don't want that. So how do you figure out your strategy? What determines your strategy? Fundamentally, as I said, it's you and what you want. You absolutely matter. As the leader, as the entrepreneur, as the owner of the business, you matter. What you want absolutely counts and drives the entire business strategy, and it has to be that way. If you want a business by design, it has to be that way. So what is it that you want? What is the profit you want? I like to work on this as the magic number. What's the magic number you want out of this business? If the business could give you a payment, a check in the old days, if they could give you a check or an internet transfer of a certain amount to say, this is the cold hard profit that came out of this business adding a lot of value, what's that number? So let's use a really simple example, and you could apply this to any size business pretty much. I certainly have. So let's say you say, well, my magic number, if I could get this business to give me $1 million profit, clear profit, I'm not talking about wages, we've already handled wages and salaries elsewhere. This is actually the return to the business owner for your risk, it's your reward. It's literally the scorecard of how much value the business has added and how well that business has been run. So what is that magic number? And I call it a magic number because it shouldn't be past-based, and I'll say more about that in a minute. It should really be something that's a little bit scary. You don't quite know how to get it done, but it's exciting at the same time. So it's sort of, the magic number is scary and exciting because it's unclear yet as to how that could happen. But it can't be past-based. So you pick a magic number. What's the number you want this business to deliver you, your shareholders? It could be based in profit, it could be based in valuation, but let's stay with profit for now. So let's say you want your business to give you $1 million profit, and we know your profit margin, your percentage is 30%. Well, then we go, okay, great. Well, now we know if we want it to give us $1 million, we have to do 3.3 million in revenue. Oh, but actually, as the business owner, the entrepreneur, the leader, I only want to work 3 or 4 days a week, or I don't want to be hands-on in this business, so we're going to need a CEO or a GM or someone to run the business. And so you're going to put in a couple of $100,000 for that. So let's just say, because we never mess with the magic number, we only mess with the top line. Let's say we want $1 million and we want to have someone running the business day to day for us. Great. So we know your profit percentage is 30%. So now we know your gross revenue needs to be 3.3 plus some more for your leader. So let's just round it up to 3.5. Now we know the business has to do 3.5 to give you that profit. So then the question becomes, well, how does the business do that? Can this business do that? Is this business the vehicle to give me that level of profit? And again, don't worry about what the number is. It's the process that's important. So is this vehicle, this business, actually able to give me that? Well, let's have a look. We have to look at who do we sell to? How do we sell to them? What's the size of the market? What are the opportunities in the market? Is it a growing market? Is it a mature market? What is happening? Who can we sell to, and how many of them? So where is the leverage points? What's our conversion rates? What's our average transaction rates? What's our client value? What's the lifetime of a client? These are just some. I mean, there's so many that we go through, but we're really looking at what are all the things that we could do to actually have us hit that mark. What would we need to sell to whom and how many of them to actually do that? And how would we need to, where would we find the leverage? Because there are always leverage points in a business that most entrepreneurs, CEOs, and business owners miss completely because they're too in it to see it. So I'll give you an example. Clear strategy, by the way, is so powerful. You know, I sat down and did one of my 2-day strategy intensives with a gentleman who's doing about $5 million. We came up with a very clear strategy to get him to 65 million in 10 years. He actually got there in 8 and he got to 100 million in 10. Another one was $1 million turnover. We mapped a plan to get him to 40 million in 5 years. He got there in 3. Those are just 2 examples, but there's so many more I could give you. Actually, another one right now, a business that was doing about 25 million, got massively impacted by COVID. We rebuilt the leadership team, put them back together after the shock, came up with a strategy to divide the business into 3 key divisions that worked very closely together. And then we sat down and worked out what is the strategy for every single division. And in one division alone, doing just about $2 million right now, on target to do that this year, we mapped a plan to get them to 15 million in 10 years, which when we first started the strategic process, that was never going to happen. But because we found the leverage point, we really found the leverage point was what you have to do when you're looking at strategy. Where is the leverage point? Their leverage point is to have two builders come on as new clients every year. That's it. All they've got to do is acquire 2 builders and they are done. So they'll hit their goals. And so all of a sudden it becomes very attainable and very doable. So you have to do that thinking to get to that outcome. Find that leverage point. And there might be multiple that will really help you get to that revenue level. And also where you're looking at is where you are now. So let's say you're doing $1 million in revenue now and we want to get to 3.5. If we're reliable for that $1 million, we've done that consistently for X number of years, then really all we need to focus on is the gap and working on that gap. So those are the keys to strategy, but the business strategy, what you want, sets the tone for the entire business strategy, because it has to be designed to give the leadership, the owners, the shareholders, the founders, what they say they want out of the business. That sets everything up. Because I can give you an example. If a business owner came to me and said, look, I kind of want a lifestyle business. I want X amount of money out of this business per year. That's only going to require this many clients. And then I have another business owner that says, we want to be $1 billion business impacting millions and millions of people on the planet. The strategies for those 2 businesses are completely different, and they are fundamentally guided by what the leadership of the business wants. So the keys to strategy is looking at where you are now, where you want to be, what do you want, and working backwards from that. We have to work backwards from that future versus forwards just from where we are today, because that will get you more of the same. We have to create this future and work backwards from that. And the way we do that is we map a very detailed revenue and resource map as part of that process. So there's some keys on strategy. Enjoy.